All right, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the main slate uh, for this for baseball today. Bobby's not with us; he'll probably join us later today for live. And I might do a showdown slate video in a little while. I'm not sure. I just finished doing the MMA DFS breakdown, which is going up on the site right now if it's not there already. But the first thing I want to do is just kind of show you the build, at least for the early slate, which is actually really interesting because, like, I'll do another one just to kind of show you what it looks like. Let's do like large slate, and let's just rebuild here. And because of the absence of, I guess, of games, but also because everybody is so cheap, you're going to see all kinds of lineups that leave just all kinds of money on the table. Don't let that intimidate you. In my opinion, just put it in. You know what I mean? That's my advice to you on situations like that. Is instead of just like going back and manually saying, "Ooh, I want a minimum of whatever you want to make a minimum of 49,000," I just let it go. And I saw some lineups here that have leaving like 5,000 on the table. And look at it, though. You have Detroit, Cincinnati, Washington, Pittsburgh, Miami, Milwaukee. You have just teams that are they have like bad hitters, so they're all priced really cheap, So it's not surprising to get lineups that leave all kinds of money on the table. I would not mess with that. That's just my opinion. I would just kind of let it roll. Like here, well, this one's 49.6. These are 50, but I was getting to some others that were leaving a lot on the table a little earlier. 49.4, 49.6. It's really weird because some of the ones that I have now, they're at 1,200, 1,300. This one's 2,300 on the table, 1,800 on the table. So I would not fight it. I would just kind of go with what they are, and you'll see that this build right now is getting me the majority of his Yuri Perez and Josiah Gray, which is definitely contrarian. Mitch Keller is definitely the best play, as is Reese Olson. So I like going contrarian on a 3-game slate like this and playing Gray and Perez. And as far as the hitting goes, I'm currently getting like mostly Cincy and Miami and Washington. Washington's getting a nice little bit of leverage on Keller there. That makes sense. Cincinnati getting the leverage on Olsen. So I think that a 3-game slate, I think this is actually a pretty cool way to play. All right, let's get to the main card. I'm already look at me. I'm already talking about the MMA card. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the process that we always do when I'm running these things. And we are going to approach this from a top-down perspective. We're going to take a look at the sheets, see who looks good, and then we're going to build a single entry lineup and then an MME build. Okay? And we're going to focus on DraftKings today. And again, this is exactly the process that I use when I build my lineups when it comes down to lock. The other thing you'll see is that, like at this early stage of the day, some guys have like 0 ownership. They just haven't updated yet. That'll change a little bit later. But just so that we have it, let's pull up a DraftKings page here just to see what games look like. Okay. So you have 5 games: Texas at Toronto, Tampa Bay at Baltimore, Yankees at Red Sox, Minnesota at Chicago, and San Francisco at Colorado. But interestingly, the San Francisco-Colorado is apparently at risk, serious risk for a rainout. And it looks to be really ugly. Now, the only thing is that Colorado, they've been known to fight through, all this stuff. So if you like San Francisco, and you're going to like San Francisco on the numbers, just proceed with caution. We'll talk about this when we get closer to lock. It's probably an irrelevant conversation for a process video. if you want to know the truth. But let's take a look and see what we like on the slate. So the first thing we're doing is we're sorting all these guys by Sheets value score, which is just my own method of factoring in both points per dollar and fantasy points. And with respect to the pitching, you see Gausman as being at the top of the list. So he has a ranking of 32, which is, to be perfectly honest, not that great. But, you know, it is 5 points better than everybody else. And then after that, you have Maeda and Bradish and Webb. And all three of those are very, very close. Okay. And then I got basically nothing after that. I mean, you got to go all the way down to Savelli and Chase Anderson. I'm getting a really poor projection of Eovaldi for some reason. That's got to change. Eovaldi's got to look better. But again, we're gonna deal with what we have right now. So right now, what I'd probably recommend is you do some kind of pairing with Gausman with either Maeda, Bradish, or Webb. And again, what that's going to depend upon is whether you really want to pay up for the hitting or not. So just for fun, let's do that. Let's put in Gausman. And let's see. Let's start with the most expensive. So who's the most expensive of those? Or just the next rank guy would be Maeda. So let's put Maeda on there. Okay. Now let's take a look at the teams that we want to use as far as hitting. First thing you'll notice is that Esteban Florial is still 2,100, and it's very rare that a position player gets to the top of the value rankings. But he is on a slate like this. Then you have a couple of good plays from Minnesota. And then we're into the Coors game, okay? And then you have Wells at 2K, or 2,700, and then a whole bunch of Minnesotas, and then more San Francisco. So without even pulling up my stacks tool or even running anything, you would imagine that it's either going to be the Yankees, Minnesota, or San Francisco. It's going to show up as the top hitting option. So then the next thing that I'd like to do is go into our stacks page, and we're gonna do it at Saberson build in a little while. Kind of put this whole thing together. And let me see where you guys are in the chat. Okay, and not surprisingly, you have, when you're ranking them by modified stack score, you have these three teams: Minnesota, Yankees, and San Francisco. The other thing that you'll see is that you don't really get much of an ownership break on any of them. San Francisco actually is the highest owned, so I'd probably end up fading them. And when you rate them by raw points, it's basically the same three. You know, so this is a very straightforward slate to analyze just using the sheets in hand building. San Francisco, first of all, they have weather issues anyway, and they are probably not that much better than Minnesota or the Yankees, especially when it comes to value, and they're going to be higher owned. So I would probably say some combination of Minnesota and the Yankees combined with Gausman and Maeda. And I know what we're going to do is we're probably going to start with that Esteban, that Florial guy. So let's just build like a lineup here. Let's do let's just first do the Yankees, I guess. So again, it's process, so this is exactly what I want to do. Let's go back into stacks, and what I want to see are players that appear in both of these measurings. If you're a good play in both value and raw points, that's extremely strong. So we're going to start with Torres. He appears in both. Florial appears in both. And Volpe. So Volpe, Torres, Florial. So why don't I have even Cole listed as like a good play? Because he's 12K, I guess. Let's go Florial, Torres, and who did I say? Volpe? Volpe. And I could already see that you can play, we still have 4,100 a man left, so you could even juice it up and play probably Judge and Stanton if you want. So let's put those guys in. Judge 6,300, Stanton 4,400, and you can do this really, really easily. And then you could, if you want, put Wells in as your catcher, and then pick your favorite Minnesota guys. And your favorite Minnesota guys would be Castro, Kepler, Julian, maybe? Well, we're going to start with Kepler and Julian because they're in both. And Polanco. Let's see if we can get all these guys in somehow. Well, Kepler's outfield, so let's put him instead of Stanton, I guess. Kepler. What position is Julian? Well, Lewis is here. That's pretty expensive. Julian at second base. We'll play him instead of Torres. I mean, this is pretty easy to do, right? Minnesota Yankees, either Kurloff or Dylan Mayhew. So this is a pretty easy way to play. Like Gaussman with Maeda, with Minnesota Yankees. You're fading San Francisco. Probably a good idea anyway, even if the game does play. So that seems like a real logical way to play as far as hand building goes. So let's go into SaberSim and see if SaberSim comes up with something similar. Let's go into main slate. And let's upload the projections. Do I not even have a Cole projection in here, or is his projection just that poor? Oh yeah, I don't even have a projection on him yet. Okay, oh, because this game's canceled. All right, so we're gonna have to redo this. I'm sorry, with Cole in the mix. But assuming he wasn't, sorry about this, guys. Let's say what we would get here. We'll do 50 lineups. What I want to do, just for the hell of it then, since I didn't have a Cole projection yet, I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to refresh these using just the SaberSim projections. Hopefully they have a projection on him, and see if that makes a difference. I mean, I don't imagine playing Cole at 12K in Boston is going to be what you want to do anyway. I think my 8 is probably a strong play, though. Let's see here. Pretty small crowd in here for the early thing. I think it's probably because we recorded. Oh, that's me again. Hello? It is. Yeah, let me put something else on hold. Sorry about this. Sorry, guys. I got to put you on hold for just a minute. Sorry about that. You're really getting a taste of Sheets World here. It's got a lot going on. So what the Sabres sim build with my projections is giving me are San Francisco's as well, which would certainly make sense. But aside from that, Twins, really not much Yankees though. Just Twins, Giants. We look at the team stacks. Yeah, it's Minnesota, San Francisco, and the Yankees. But what I want to do is just for kicks, I want to refresh this slate. And if they do have a projection on Cole, they still don't have one on him though. Maybe he's not pitching. Let me just reset the projections here. Let's see. Cole? Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I have to. Maybe he's not pitching. No, Schmidt's pitching. Yeah, I apologize, guys. I don't know what's going on here. In any case, Minnesota, Yankees, San Francisco if they play, but they probably won't. And for me, it's going to be probably Gausman and Maeda. With respect to FanDuel, I'll just kind of go through this real quick, I guess. But again, if I don't have the right Yankee pitchers, I don't know what I'm good for. Probably nothing. For FanDuel, just a real quick look. Gausman as well. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty boring slate, I think. And then you'll have FanDuel. You have San Francisco, Minnesota again over there. They don't even have the Yankees listed. Maybe they're not even on the slate. So Minnesota, San Francisco would look to be the early look. All right, sorry for the confusion, guys. I tried my best to juggle everything, but we'll be there live at 6 o'clock to go over everything. Again, I do apologize, and we'll get you some NFL Showdown content as well a little bit later. I apologize.